even know if they still make this deck, to be honest with you, ever since Doreen said I'm a Christian girl now. I'm a Christian girly. And on my channel, you're gonna find all things business, spirituality, and wellness. Today, I'm coming at you with a Oracle deck review. So this is officially the beginning of a series I wanted to put together, reviewing my Oracle deck and tarot card deck collection. I have a pretty vast collection. I have a thing for Oracle cards and tarot decks. And I just thought it would be fun to review some of my decks in the same nature that I used to review hair products and makeup back in the days. If you go to my old videos on my YouTube channel, you can see more about my life in my beauty influencer days, my OG beauty influencer days. But let's get into this deck. So the deck that we are reviewing today is my very first Oracle deck ever. It is the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. It's a 44 card deck and guidebook. These are Oracle cards. They were published in 2003. And by the way, Miss Doreen Virtue is no longer into any of the spiritual stuff. She's like a full-blown Christian. And, you know, just a little tea for y'all. She has like denounced all the work that she ever did when she was on her spiritual journey. Now she's on her religious journey. And, you know, like, whatever works for her, I love that for her. But I will have to personally say that I really dislike when people who used to be spiritual then convert to like a religion and then want to bash like everything that they ever did when they were on the spiritual path. Because let me tell you something, Doreen. I really love this deck. I love your work. And I think just because you have pivoted on your journey, and I'm saying this as someone who actually grew up in church, someone who was a Sunday school teacher, someone who was raised as Christian and is now on a different journey that is definitely more spiritual than religious. You know, I just feel like, why are you just out here bashing your former life? Like, I'm into all the things, right? Y'all already know what my vibes are about, but I would never not claim and own the fact that I'm a church girl and I grew up in church. I still listen to gospel. I'm going to sage and cleanse my house and I'm going to have the gospel playing in the background, you know? Like, those things can coexist and like, I don't know. I don't understand why the need to constantly like bash and like renounce the contributions that you made when you were on this path, especially if they impacted and have helped so many people, and they still are, even though you don't associate yourself to that. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents on the little tea, okay? So back to this deck. The backstory on how I purchased this deck is I got it in 2012. And I got it after I did a past life regression. If you guys want me to do a video on my past life regression experience, let me know. I actually might turn that into a podcast episode for the next season of my podcast. So if you're interested in that, just leave a comment below. So boom. I did a past life regression video. Actually, it was on YouTube. And I do the meditation or the journey. And I'm taking into a past life where I was a mermaid. And I was like, oh my God. I have always had an affinity for mermaids. I've always enjoyed the ocean. The Little Mermaid and Pocahontas was one of my favorite movies growing up. So when I was in this journey, seeing that I was a mermaid, I was like, oh my God, this just makes so much sense. And in the past life regression video, I'll share more details about the journey. But ever since I did that regression, it really stamped and affirmed for me all of the little connections that I just had with mermaids and dolphins too. Something about dolphins as well, like I've just always felt very connected to them. And every time I see a dolphin, I've seen them, like living in Florida for 10 years, definitely have seen my fair share of dolphins. And it's just like such a magical experience. Honestly, any like sea animals, like whales and dolphins, fishes, I don't know, like my heart just, something about the underwater animals. So thanks to, let's say, a family friend, because we're not really related, but we're kind of like family, but we're not. Thanks to a family friend, I really started getting more curious about oracle cards, because every time we would go to her house for like a girls' night, she would have her oracle card decks and we would pull cards for each other. And I found myself always like taking pictures of the cards. And there was a part of me that was like, you know, like, can I buy my own deck? Like, I don't know. I just felt like such a reverence for the cards and the oracles and all of that, that I felt like I wanted to, like, I don't know, I felt like I almost had to like ask permission to like buy my own deck and pull my own cards. So if you're watching this and you're really curious about oracle cards, but maybe you're just like, I don't know, like I don't feel like I am that deep in my spiritual journey to get decks. I don't know, it just, you feel like you need to get permission to like buy an oracle deck. This is your permission slip. I'm giving you permission to honor your heart's desires and go ahead and get yourself an oracle deck or some tarot cards. They're very helpful. They're very life-changing. I can do a separate video about maybe like how to get your first oracle deck or something like that and how to use them. But I personally love them very much, which is why I have a collection, which is why I'm doing this collection series video. So I went online and I googled like mermaid oracle decks, and this was the first deck that popped up. And there was some other few decks, but I don't know, just like I really resonated with this deck and I went ahead and ordered it. And this was in 2012. So I've had this deck now for over 10 years. It has traveled the world with me. When I worked on a cruise ship out of Australia, I brought this deck with me. This deck has been with me through good and bad. And the deck was published in 2003. So obviously the imagery on it is, I wouldn't say it's dated, but because it's still very beautiful. But you can definitely see the difference between the artwork and the style and the energy of these decks than with some more modern decks that I have, for example. But this is just like my OG deck, and I love it. And you know, I believe, it's just some of the imagery on here, and forgive me, this is my first oracle deck YouTube review, so I don't really know the format of this. I'm sure as I do more of these I will figure it out, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm trying to remember how I did like makeup review tutorials, and it's like, how do you review a deck? I'm just sharing my thoughts and opinions and why I like this deck. Obviously, if I have the deck and I own it, it's for a reason. So really, it's just giving y'all my perspective on these decks. So, and I've never seen anyone that really looks like me on here doing these either. So it's for the culture. So yeah, these are what the cards look like. And you know, I have a firm belief that every deck that I own has its own energy. They're almost like people. So when I pull cards for myself every morning, or just like when I'm going through something and I need some clarity, when I need some clarity in my business before a meeting, etc., I always like to sit and look at all my decks, and it's almost like, who do I want to have a conversation with in this moment? And because I think of them as people with their own energy and their own personas and their own attitudes. And so depending on what I'm going through or how I'm feeling that day, it's like I'll scan my decks and I'll really sit with like, who do I want to have a conversation with? Like, you know, when you're going through something or you just want to talk to somebody, you know, in your head, you're going through the list of your friends. And, you know, maybe you have a friend that's like the cheerleader. She's your hype girl. Whether you're going through something good or bad, you know that you're always going to leave feeling very cheerful and very happy when you finish talking to them. Then you might have a friend who's going to give it to you straight up like it is. She's going to call you out on your bullshit. She's going to hold you accountable, and she's not going to let you come to her with this victim-y, sobby story, right? Then you have maybe a friend who's more motherly and she's very nurturing and she's going to be very stern and very firm with you, but she's also gonna do it with love, and she's gonna hold you and give you that like very mothering energy so that you still feel like lifted, even though you know better, you know? And then you have a friend that you just be kikiing with, and it's like they're gonna give you the tea, they're gonna tell it to you how it is, but it's like a little entertaining and comical at the same time with a little shade, okay? So just how you have your own friends and their own personalities, and you already know what you can expect when you reach out to them to ask them their advice or opinion on something, that's the same way that I look at my oracle decks and my tarot cards. So I really just tap into like, who do I want to chat with today? Which one of my friends do I want to have a conversation with? So all that to say that the energy of the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins of this deck is just very like happy-go-lucky. It's very positive, patty. It's very uplifting. It's almost angelic. It's very serene. It's very grounding, but in an emotional way, because these are all water creatures, and as you guys know, like water is associated with your emotions. It's definitely very Yemaya energy as well, because it's very like mothering and nurturing, but also like, here's the lesson, but it's with like gentleness and love. And like, I just always feel very uplifted when I pull from this deck. And this is also a really good beginner deck. So for this to have been my first oracle card deck, I'm so grateful because it's so beginner friendly. It's very to the point, but also being like, I don't know how to explain it, but the energy is just like very Care Bear energy too. And very magical and fairy-like, but mermaid-like at the same time. Even if you were to think about the energy of like Ariel, how she's very curious and you know, she had her lessons to learn, I feel like that energy is also within this deck. Like the lessons are there, but with care, with love, and also like magic. There's something like very magical. I think it's like the fairy energy here also that the deck has, because even though it's Magical Mermaids and Dolphins, this deck also has like fairy energy to it. And I just love it. It just gives me all the feels. Look at this. Like, the messages are just so beautiful. Like this card says alchemy. You have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. Divine magic, and this is a card that's on the box, on the cover. Says extra magical energy surrounds your situation right now. Expect miracles. So you see how like it's just very uplifting. Okay, break free. Try different ventures and experiences as a way to grow and learn. Pay attention. Notice repetitious signs in your inner guidance, as this can yield valuable information. Synchronicity. Okay? How beautiful the dolphins. Your prayers and questions are being answered by synchronistic events. Notice them in order to increase their flow. Top 3 cards from this deck that have just been very impactful to me over time, because like I said, this is the deck that I've had for the longest, so I've really been able to sit with this deck, sit with the energy of this deck, and to the point that like I can pull a card and it's like, oh, I remember the meaning of that card and what the book says, but also like I have interpreted in my own way, and you know, which is also very magical. First card is the Father Healing card, okay? And I'm gonna read to you guys what the book says too, because I really want you guys to be able to grasp the energy of this deck, and I feel like these 3 cards are very like great examples of it. So it says your personal power increases as you give any father related issues to heaven. The message here, girl. This card shows you that you still have some father issues left to heal. The healing doesn't need to take a lot of time. It simply requires your willingness to be free of any old anger, grief, or fear related to your male parent. Universal energies are either male or female. Male energy is expansive and giving. Female energy is nurturing and receptive. If we're unhealed with respect to our father, the universe seems to be ungenerous. If we're unhealed toward our mother, we won't accept the gifts the universe offers us. The more you focus on the spiritual truth of your father, the more your heart will be receptive to the universe's continuous and all-encompassing giving. Accept your rightful bounty and open your arms to the divine inheritance. Affirm, I now focus on the love that is the spiritual truth of my Father, and I hereby balance any karma between us. I now let go of everything but the love and the lessons of my relationship with my Father. So, I mean, what a beautiful message for those of us that need to work on this divine masculine energy. Just such a beautiful reminder, and then the connection and the way that it's worded, it's like, oh, thank you for calling me out on my daddy issues, or the healing that I need to do when it comes to the male lineage in my family. The next card is self-employment, and as an entrepreneur, like, to see this card in this deck, I remember the first time I pulled it, it was like, oh my god, it just felt like the biggest sign, the biggest confirmation. Like, what are the odds that in this very magical deck, there's a card about self-employment? And again, this is why I say that this is such a great deck for beginners, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Like, the messages just be hidden. So it says you're a born entrepreneur and your business is surrounded by magical opportunities. It is. You have the drive, discipline, and desire to be your own boss. This card also shows you that you have the magical ingredients for a successful business. Heaven wants you to know that you're fully supported spiritually. As long as you stay enthusiastic, new opportunities will come to you. Your positive energy attracts customers, clients, and contracts. If you're in the process of opening a new business, now is the time to do spiritual work. Praying, meditating, visualizing, and affirming, to conduct research about your business, and to work on yourself by eating healthfully, getting sufficient sleep, and exercising regularly. These multiple layers of action will propel you to miraculous business opportunities. Just so cute, right? It's just so cute. And then the last card that I love in this deck is the mother healing card. Because you know, they don't have the father healing, they gotta have the mother healing, okay, to call us out. As your feelings toward your mother heal, your desires manifest more rapidly and accurately. Did you guys know that your mother wounds are associated to your abundance? Girl, if you have a troubled relationship with your mother and you're wondering why the money keeps running from you, you might want to take a look at that root chakra. You might want to take a look at that mother wound. You might want to take a look at your ability to receive. But most importantly, you're going to want to do some mother healing. Okay? By drawing this card, Heaven asks you to release some remaining mother issues. Give the entire situation to Heaven, knowing that everything is in the hands of Infinite Spirit. The situation may heal in unexpected ways. Be unconcerned with how it heals, and be vigilant in releasing any lower energies connected to your mother that could interfere with your life's mission. By releasing any mother issues to Heaven, your heart opens further to accepting joy and blessings into your life. Your mother benefits when you're happy, whether or not she's consciously aware of it. Be willing to forgive and release old issues relating to yourself, your mother, mother figures, or anyone connected to your mother. By cleaning your inner house, you invite new love, opportunities, abundance, and healing energies to enter your life. Girl, okay? Do you see why I love this deck? So, if you're a former church girly like me and you kind of want some oracle cards, you kind of want some tarot cards, but like you don't want to jump into the deep and like you just want to dabble your toes in like this pool, this spiritual pool. I don't even know if they still make this deck, to be honest with you, ever since Doreen said I'm a Christian girl now, I'm a Christian girly. But this is such a great beginner's deck. It's so good. It is so, so good. And I don't think I'm going to do like ratings, but I will just, moving forward, I will describe each deck as like, this is beginner friendly. This is for someone who's a little deeper into their spiritual journey. And this is for like someone who's more advanced. And so all that to say that if you're looking for a beginner friendly deck, because you just want to dip your toes in the spirituality pool, Magical Mermaids and Dolphins is the deck for you. And if, you know, you're a little positive Patty, just everything's magic, you're going to love this deck. I hope you enjoyed my first review of the first oracle deck I have ever purchased. Stay tuned as I will be bringing you guys along through my oracle and tarot deck collection. And let me know in the comments, what was your first ever oracle deck? And if you have not purchased one, let me know in the comments, what deck are you thinking about purchasing as your first one? Okay, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Make sure that you subscribe, you share this with your spiritual bestie, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Oh, and if you want to see me pull some cards from this deck, make sure that you tune into the business energy reading for this week, or just scroll back on my channel so that you can see this deck in action. Okay, bye. I'm not a beauty blogger anymore, but you know, when this is where you come from, you just can't help it. But can we just get into like my makeup today? Ever since I've been back on YouTube, even though I'm not doing beauty tutorials, you know, you guys just have been inspired me to tap back into my roots. And I've been having so much fun playing with makeup again. Can we get into this mauve-y look? Like, so good. It's like extra but basic at the same time. Like natural but so good. So good. Oh. I'm really having a time being back on YouTube, but on different terms and conditions. I love this for me. I have so many exciting ideas for content that obviously is like spiritual wellness and entrepreneurship. So just get into it. Just like, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what content you want to see from me in the future. Like, just like really excited about YouTube. Okay, bye for real.